Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Who else is in the house? Who else is in here?
My stepson is in here.
How many other people?
Help him out.
Listen,
That's it. I have 2 cats.
Everybody's out?
Yes.
But your stepson's still inside?
Yeah, he's right here.
We're getting a first look at the moments a Waterbury man was rescued from a home he says he was held captive in for decades. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Fox 61's Alicia Hercules breaks down the footage for us tonight.
What started off as a house fire turned into a case that made national headlines. And for the first time, we're seeing body cam footage from the night first responders say a man was finally freed from captivity.
Who else is in the house? Who else is in here?
My stepson is in here.
How many other people?
In this newly released body cam footage, you can see Waterbury first responders talking to Kimberly Sullivan outside of her home on Blake Street. She can be heard asking about her cats that were possibly still in the home. First responders can also be seen carrying her 32-year-old stepson into an ambulance. Although his face was blurred in the footage, first responders say the man was emaciated and weighed only 68 pounds. Police say the man told them his stepmother held him captive for more than 20 years. The man told them he had to drink from a toilet and there was always a lock on the outside of his room. He told police he intentionally lit a fire in the home so he could finally be free. Despite the shocking accusations, Sullivan's attorney, Ioannis Kaloidis, says that his client is still presumed innocent and deserving of a fair trial.
I would just ask that people keep an open mind and let this case work its way through the court system and allow Ms. Sullivan to get a fair trial.
Last week, Sullivan was released on $300,000 bond. She's facing a list of charges, including assault and kidnapping. Sullivan is due back in court on Wednesday, March 26th, where she and her legal team expect to enter in a not guilty plea and make an election for a jury trial. In Waterbury, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.
I came out the house and there was a lot of police cars and ambulances, and you could tell like it was a bad situation going on. It was raining and I heard people screaming, so it was bad.
And in New Haven, an 8-year-old boy is shot and killed, and police are calling the death preventable and senseless. Fox 61's Kate Pattyfoot brings us what we know so far.
Neighbors are still trying to make sense of what happened Sunday evening after police say an 8-year-old boy died after accidentally shooting himself.
As a dad, I can't even imagine losing my 2 girls. And this young boy, 8 years old, had his whole life ahead of him, and just in an instant, it was taken away from us.
Shock and sadness from New Haven Mayor Justin Elliker after the sudden death of an 8-year-old boy Sunday evening. Police say the boy was found lying on the kitchen floor suffering from a gunshot wound. He was rushed to Yale New Haven Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Investigators say the boy shot himself at his home while family was there. They believe the shooting was accidental. Neighbors like Sean Brown and Juanita Brewer say this is heartbreaking.
You hear that on the news, like, you know, around the country, but it's like, you know how they say too close to home? Yeah, I mean, people get shot around here all the time. I hate to say, but like 8-year-old boy dying is just like, it breaks your heart.
I'm sorry that it happened because an 8-year-old don't know where I gun at. You know what I mean? So for their loss, I'm really sorry about it. I'm sad to hear about it.
The boy was a student in the New Haven public school system. Mayor Elliker said the school community is grieving this tragic loss too.
It's a really, really difficult time for the school, as you can imagine, that one day this young boy is a part of everyone's life there, and the next day he's gone.
In a statement from New Haven Police Chief Carl Jacobson, he said, quote, "Our detectives are actively investigating the sequence of events which led to losing an 8-year-old to a shooting. What is clear is that this was a tragic, preventable, and senseless death." The victim's accidental death is not the first in the state, and Mayor Elliker says this has to be a wake-up call.
It's also a reminder to people that if they do have guns at home, it's the law to secure them properly, but it's also people's responsibility. We've lost other kids in the state to guns that someone had access to that shouldn't have had access to them, and it's important for people to make sure that they're safe, to keep their families safe.
It's still unclear who owned the gun used in the incident and why it was in the home at the time. Police are asking anyone who may have seen anything to give them a call. In New Haven, Kate Pattyfoot, Fox 61.
We have a correction to make on a story we brought you over the weekend following the death of a Clinton man in a crash involving a glider aircraft. 70-year-old Bradley Darr passed away after that crash Friday in Deep River. Darr's family shared these photos of him with us. Over the weekend, Fox 61 spoke with a student at a local flight school who said he knew Darr. He told us Darr had built the glider himself and took it out for a ride. But this evening, we spoke with Darr's family, and they told Fox 61 that that was not the case, that the glider was not homemade. They tell us Brad was a very seasoned pilot and flew many types of aircraft, including Piper, Archer, and hot air balloons before getting into flying gliders. The NTSB has been notified about the crash, but Connecticut State Police will be the ones carrying out the investigation.
The rain has moved on, clouds will clear, and we're looking at a sunny couple of days ahead. And it's the final 2 days of winter, which will go out on a warm note. Here's a look at winds right now. The winds have changed, pumping in that drier air out of the north, anywhere from 15 to about 30 miles an hour. And we'll see those winds slowly diminish tonight. Right now, temperatures are in the mid-30s for Waterbury, mid-40s, though, in Meriden, and right around the 40-degree mark in Chester. Overnight lows will bottom out in the 30s, so it'll be a cool start to the day tomorrow, but a warm finish as we go from 30s to near 50 degrees at lunchtime and then up close to 60 as we head through the afternoon. And that's not only the inland temperature, but I think the Connecticut shoreline could warm up to near 60 degrees as well. So a really beautiful day, and I actually think it gets even warmer on Wednesday. I did want to mention there is a flood warning in effect for the Connecticut River. No flooding just yet, but water levels are rising and it will end up peaking in minor flood stage as we head through the coming days. We're going to talk about this, plus the chance for rain to finish the week and maybe even a few snowflakes. March still may have a few tricks up her sleeve. Your full forecast coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Waterbury Hospital has seen an increase in patients coming into their medical facilities this year.
Yeah, that comes after the hospital announced the expansion of their new Access Rehab Center facility in downtown Waterbury.
Fox 61's Valerie Moravi explains how members of the community will benefit from these new services.
Hospital leaders say this is a new exciting opportunity to continue to serve the underserved community while also benefiting hundreds of patients and staff members. In a partnership bringing the city, Easter Seals, and Yukon together, Waterbury Hospital has opened a new facility here at 36 North Main Street, right in the heart of the city. Brian Emmerich, the president for Access Rehab Centers, says this expansion aims to offer more accessible healthcare services to low-income families, especially to those who have a hard time getting a ride or driving to these kind of services.
When you look at the saturation of the patients in the areas that are close to our clinics, that are easy to get to, there was much more patients that were coming to our clinics just because they were physically close. So we put this here as an investment in trying to make sure that we eliminated distance as a barrier to access of care.
The nearly 37,000 square foot facility is co-located with the Yukon Waterbury building and offers physical, occupational, and speech therapy, among other services for people of all ages.
But we also have a heated in-ground therapy pool. We have therapists that treat just women's. We have a women's clinic at 134 Grandview. We have therapists that treat chronic edema called manual lymph drainage issues. We have a cancer-certified therapist.
And for those unable to make it to the facility, Emmerich says home-based outpatient therapy is available for all patients upon their doctor's approval. Those services are available by scheduling an appointment. Emmerich says it's important that patients aren't turned away because they might not have insurance.
What you'll find is that there's a large percentage of the folks that live in the city that are on Medicaid, and that can be a little problematic to find providers. But as I mentioned, we gladly accept Medicaid.
Now, Emmerich says they're expecting to work with Medicare patients in the next few weeks. In Waterbury, and Valerie Moravi, Fox 61.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are pushing to make sure retired combat-injured veterans are taken care of. Senator Richard Blumenthal and several other senators introduced a new bill called the Major Richard Starr Act. Were it to become law, it would ensure that all veterans receive the full amount of their Department of Defense retirement and disability payments. Senator Blumenthal released a statement saying, in part, it is unacceptable that tens of thousands of combat-injured veterans are denied the full military benefits they earned. Our bipartisan bill, he goes on, will right this long-standing injustice and finally provide these military retirees who have already sacrificed so much their full VA disability and Defense Department retirement payments.
Right now, police at the University of New Haven are looking for the person or people responsible for breaking into cars on campus. These photos were released by police on Facebook. Take a look. They're hoping to get some leads on who is behind these break-ins. If you have any information, you're asked to contact University Police. And police in New Milford are looking for a pickup truck involved in a hit-and-run crash earlier this month. Police believe this maroon Toyota Tundra with an extended cab was involved in the crash in a Walmart parking lot. This happened on March 8th. If you know anything from that day, New Milford Police would like to hear from you.
Family, friends, and loved ones will say their final farewells this week to a Yale University police officer who died last week. A celebration of life service for Officer Gregory Swantek will be held Wednesday at the Toyota Oakdale Theater in Wallingford at noon. Yale Public Safety says Officer Swantek passed away following a medical event. Last week, police from all over Connecticut paid their respects to Swantek with a procession. He served in many roles during his 17-plus years in the department, including community engagement officer, field training officer, and bicycle officer. He is survived by a 10-year-old daughter. To stay up to date on all these stories or for more information as we get it into the newsroom, just scan the QR code on your screen and download the Fox 61 News app.